Welcome to another episode of the Thriving Immigrant podcast. I'm so grateful to God for the opportunity to do this again today. And I'm super excited because I've got a big fish in the room. My thriving immigrant today is no other person but Pamela Anoliefo. She's a seasoned technology professional. She's a trailblazer and an inspiration in the Canadian tech industry. She has over 18 years of experience. She has excelled in roles ranging from release train engineer to scrum master, project manager, and business analyst, driving agile project management and organizational change. Her versatility shines in projects across fintech, retail, and financial services, to mention a few. Pamela is also the founder of Redlocks Consulting. I'm sure some of you must have come across Redlocks Consulting, where she imparts knowledge and career coaching. She's very passionate about volunteerism, mentorship, and women in tech, workplace inclusion, and diversity. Her dedication extends to her involvement with Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. Recently, she was recognized as one of Canada's top 100 Black women to watch out for. Pamela is my friend. She's a visionary leader, a mentor, and a driving force in tech and beyond. She's committed to creating a brighter future, not just for immigrants, but for the entire globe. Thank you so much, Pamela. Welcome to the Thriving Immigrant podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. This is seriously big podcast real estate that I'm on. So I am very humbled to be a guest on your podcast.
Thank you. First off, I would like to say well done for all the things you've been doing in the community. You are like a big force when it comes to tech in Canada. And I've seen your stories. I think there was a particular edition of I can't remember the dailies, maybe the Guardian, that I saw your story. I'm like, oh wow, this is my friend. You know what it feels like? So why not just start by sharing your immigration journey? Why Canada? What motivated you to move to Canada?
So long story. I've always been in technology from day one. So my first degree was in computer engineering, and my master's is in innovation and entrepreneurship. So look at that. I'm a techie, but I'm also a business person. So those are my two passions, right? Technology and entrepreneurship. And that's why I launched my business. Now, why did I move to Canada? I never thought I was going to leave Nigeria. I'm originally from Nigeria. We're both Nigerians. Even though I traveled a lot, there was really no big reason for me to change and uproot myself from what I knew, right? I was, in quote, comfortable, even though things were not perfect in the country. But I'll say that my desire to leave the country can be traced back to about 8 years ago. I would say 8 years ago. First of all, I had been in technology and I found that my career was not going anywhere. Like, in spite of all of the work that I had put into my career, I was not growing at the pace that I felt I should grow. Because I'm not someone that's complacent at all. I'm not mediocre by any standards. Anybody that works with me knows that. I'm very passionate about what I do. I put my heart into my work, and it's all about quality, right? And after all of this, I had found that my career was stagnant. So I decided, you know what, my career is stagnant. I want to move on. I just had my last child. And I had my last child, and I got back to work, and I could not function anymore. It's strange. Like, I would get to work and there was no desire to do anything. I would stay in front of my computer. I just couldn't work. I didn't have it anymore. Right. And I just realized that I couldn't continue like that anymore. I wasn't myself. And there were two options. It was either I got a new job, or I left the country. At that point in time, I had friends who had been traveling to Canada, and trust me, I never one day asked them like, hey, what's going on in that country? So while I was there dealing with this whole, I don't know what I'll call it. I'm trying to look for the word. I think it was something, it was mental. It was a mental thing. I couldn't function anymore after my child. I came back from maternity leave, so I couldn't function. And I couldn't stay like that. Another person I knew came to say, I'm going to Canada. And I was like, okay. Okay. I was like, and now at that point, I was like, my eyes open and I asked a question I never asked. I was like, why? What are you going to do in Canada? And I said, oh, I'll immigrate, I'll get a job. The government will give me money for my kids, this, that. I was like, okay, what else? And they sent to me Canada.ca to Canada.ca to check out the immigration. And so I saw the basic requirements, have a degree, write IELTS, and then apply. I was like, is that all? And I've been sitting on this information. And I was like, okay. And I told my husband, I told my husband that maybe, I just think that, I've been trying to get a job, a new job is not working out. That maybe I just need to change the environment. I need something different to spark my creative juices again, because I just couldn't thrive. And that was how Canada started for me. And suddenly I now realized that, wow, a lot of people were going to Canada, had moved to Canada and all of that. And I started to pay more attention to it. It was just for me a change of environment because I was burnt out and I couldn't function anymore in the workplace.
Oh wow, that's I won't say it's a very good story, but it's a unique story because I've spoken with a lot of people, but your own angle is just different. And thank you for sharing that. So I love what you mentioned, like you change environment, and this is going to lead me to my next question. So how was it for you when you landed? Were you able to easily integrate into the system? Did you get your first tech role? Because you were in tech back in Nigeria, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
was your first job in tech? How easy was it for you to get your first tech role with your experiences back from Nigeria?
Okay, so I was one of the fortunate people that got the kind of job I wanted in the company I wanted in the first month I got into Canada.
Wow.
Yes, so the company I thought I wanted to work at, I got the job there. I got the exact role, and I actually got the role in the same department in the same kind of department I was in Nigeria. So would I say it was easy if we look at it from a standpoint of getting that job in my first month? But there was a lot of work I had to do before to get that job, right? So, and all of that was not easy. So because my goal for coming to Canada was because, like I said, I just couldn't find, there was no more desire to work anymore. And I had decided, I think I just need to change environment to help me get back to the person I used to be and all of that. So I mean, Canada for me, it wasn't like, if you permit me to use the colloquialism called Jackpa, it wasn't the Jackpa syndrome, right? I mean, I was comfortable. I mean, we were not rich, but we're comfortable. So it wasn't Jackpa per se. It was more of a conscious decision to change environment and build my life again from scratch, my career from scratch, build a good life for my family. So the minute I was sure that my PR was coming, I quickly changed my focus from I'm moving to Canada to how do I get a job in Canada and how do I get the job that I want in Canada. And I would say that I landed Canada April. I got my offer. I landed Canada at the end of April. I did complete all my interviews by the interviews that got me the job sometime in May, but I started interviewing in May, and the offer came, I can't forget, I think on the 9th of June, right? I can't forget that day, the first offer. I got 2 offers in 2 weeks, same bank, with the same rules. But the journey that led to that success started January of that year. So I would say that everything that took me to the point of getting that job in the first 1 month was about 4 to 5 months in the making.
I love what you just mentioned. Like, there's no accidental success. And I love how you talked about being proactive. Like, you were visionary, you were proactive. You knew that coming to Canada, you were going to work. I probably knew that your skills were going to be, you were going to easily transfer your skills. You had gained those skills and it was going to be easy to transfer them. So you knew what you wanted and you prepared yourself and you were proactive. So thank you. Now, my next question to you would be, at what point did you decide to become a consultant, like a coach, to start helping immigrants trying to transition into the tech industry? Like, what motivated you to make that move?
Okay, so when we move, right? There's so many stages that we go through when we move to the country. There's the excitement stage. Oh, I'm coming to Canada as a PR or as anything else. Then there's the apprehension stage, like, oh my God, it's happening. I'm going to be arriving. How is the weather going to be? Where am I going to stay? And all of that. Then there's the when you arrive, it's a mixture of apprehension, it's a mixture of excitement, it's a new environment, right? I mean, you go through these emotions in waves. It's going to come, there's going to be exciting times. And one of the things I found is that those things quickly wear off when you settle in and and it's time to look for a job, right? Then the fear comes, the uncertainty comes. When I moved, I did not ever think I was going to find myself in the situation of coaching people. I just really did what I did best, which is get the job, do the job, talk to people. If they needed help them, right? People reach out to me, I'll share the information I had. I will review their resume, I will give them feedback. And the more I did this, the more I found that more and more people are reaching out to me, and I was sharing my stories on LinkedIn. I was quite involved in a lot of, like say, immigrant organizations. I help immigrants share my story, or even learning more, because I'm not just sharing my story, I'm also learning. We're all new, right? I mean, I was fortunate to get my job in 1 month, but keeping the job was a different ballgame, right? Like, I had to keep the job and I had to learn how to thrive in the Canadian work environment, which was something I didn't know too. So even that on its own was stress. So I found that people are reaching out to me to help them. And the more I help them, they'll come back and say, oh, this makes sense. And they'll come back and be thankful. People are reaching out to me on LinkedIn. There are messages coming in. It's like, this was like, just like, it just happened. Do you understand? Because I think that when you're doing something you're truly passionate about without any end goals, right? There was no end goal to it. They were just doing what I do. I find that I was helping more and more people. And the more I help people, I say having people, friends say, this thing that you do, like, you need to call it something. And at that point, I don't know what to call it. Do you get, like, now I'm calling it consultant and coach, and it seems like that was the end goal. Because what am I going to call what I'm doing? I'm just helping you now to get a job, right? And I constantly did this over time. And the more I do it, someone's coming to the country, someone say, oh, you can talk to my friend Pamela, or someone's like, Pamela, I heard about you, or something like that. There's always like this, that. I'm like, I don't know, like, guys, is there some special powers that I have that you guys know about that I don't know about? Please. So I think it was an awareness from the community, to be honest. It was an awareness from the community that what I was doing was helpful and I was making a difference. And then seeing that some people had coached pro bono, had gotten jobs, right? Seeing how they were thriving, seeing some of the feedback that they gave me and all of that. And so one of the things I decided was, okay, maybe it's about time for me to call this thing something, whatever it is. And two, because I also realized that because I do it just I'm trying to help people, I really can't extend my impact because I only do it when I have the time or the bandwidth. But if I based on what I saw that it made a difference in people's life, I realized that if I put this together as a business, I'll be able to extend my impact because now I'll be more committed to it, right? Because I've put it out there in the world as a business, people are reaching out to me, and then obviously I have to make out time to grow my business. So that was where it really started from, to really extend this impact to the community in a much larger way, right? And because businesses give you structure, right, to be able to do these things better rather than just, making it a side thing that you do on the side when you are free. So that's really it. It's really that whole, to be able to empower more people on a much, much more massive scale. So whatever impact I thought I had then, like right now is even amplified. I'm even shocked myself at
Wow.
the at the response.
Oh, wow. Thank you. This story you just shared is very powerful, and there's a lot of insights in what you just shared. I love the fact that you just started your thing without having any idea of what you were going into, like mentioning how you were helping people, and at some point you now realize that you were actually creating value, and that's how most business owners probably start. And I love that you were able to identify those gaps and you were able to challenge yourself because it's challenging. Like, I'm sure the first time you'll be like, do you really want to get paid for this? Can you guarantee
You don't believe me. I'm telling you, because I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, me, I can't create a business. Like, who will pay me
who
for
will
this?
pay you for this?
Do you
Yeah,
understand? Who will pay me? I'm like, please, 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 no. Do you understand?
I know. So thank you for sharing that. And I really love that story. And there's another thing that you mentioned that I found very interesting. You mentioned that getting a job is one thing, staying on the job and growing on the job is another thing. And that's very important. For you that you've worked in Nigeria and you started working in the same industry in Canada, do you think there are unique challenges, maybe like cultural differences that people of color face in the tech industry? Maybe especially Black women in tech.
Yeah. So there's so many, right? Let's start for example, especially if you were not born here, you talk different, right? You talk different. We all have accents.
That's
There's the
correct.
Canadian accent, there's the American accent. But imagine if on the call, you're the only one that talks different, right? They'll always remember you. There's no project I'm on or no project you be on that they'll say they don't know Paul. Do you understand? They'll know you, like, if probably how you talk, they're like, oh, that's Paul, right?
Right.
And they remember you. So one of the things that you want to be remembered for positive things, right? Because those things count against you, not because you're not competent or anything, but because you're different. People would evaluate you differently and will
Mm.
treat any of your mistakes or your successes more different. So I think that that's, first of all, that's one of it, right? Two, we don't understand. The work culture here is much different than what we have back home. Back home in Nigeria, we used to wait for promotion, right? We thought promotion is something that they must reward us with. Here, you want to get promoted, you gotta act like someone who wants to get promoted. They're not going to
You're
serve
going
it
to
to you on the
fall down on
corner
your laps. You have to ask
because
for
you work
it.
for 5 years. You have to act for it. You have to ask, how do I get promoted? And you have to act like someone that wants to get promoted. That's
Hmm.
one of the things that I find that we could do better. In fact, I had a passionate conversation about this yesterday. My company, when people are talking about, oh, we don't get recognized, I was like, guys, don't come here and cry. You want to get promoted, look for a difficult problem that exists in your team. Don't ask for permission, go and solve it. No
Hmm.
one will deny that you did it. Everyone's going to remember that you did it. That's one. Two, we have to network, we have to have sponsors. I find that we're very good at our jobs. Nigerians are very good at their jobs, right? But we don't network with purpose. We network like we want to just show up at the night. Want to show up at the parties, at the events, post on social media, and then complain that we're not getting promoted. You better network with purpose. Find the leaders in your organization that matter and build a relationship. If anybody is listening to this, if you want me to teach you how I do it, I'll teach you. It's intentional. It's not reserved for an elite few.
Hmm.
It's something that you can learn and you can do it. You don't know how to do it, reach out to me, I'll coach you how to network,
With
how to
purpose.
get noticed. It's very, very intentional. Sometimes I randomly experiment. During COVID, on a random day, I was like, I've been at home for 3 months. I've not met anybody new. I just sat down, sent 60 messages to only senior people on LinkedIn, and 3 of them responded. I had coffee chats with them. One of them even recommended me for a role 3 months after we spoke, and she doesn't really know me. So I encourage us that we need to understand that you might be good. If nobody knows you're good, you're not going to get noticed, you're going to get bitter. So I think that we need to focus more on being more visible, volunteering a lot more in our company. So if your company has things that are outside of the job that you do, they have a party coming up, they have an organization, they have something that they do to raise funds, please show up there. It doesn't matter. Volunteer, do the presentation, present. They're going to know you. Someone's going to meet you and like you and say, I love how she did this. And from there, that's your inroad to build a relationship with the person, because they might be hiring a more senior role and they will give you the job, or they might know someone who's hiring and recommend you. So I think that's one of the things that we need to do more, is be more visible, network more. Let's be more visible. Let's network with purpose in our organizations. Let's make sure that our voices are heard, but not just heard for the wrong reason, but heard in the right place. So that when they think of to solve this problem, who can we think of? Paul. Paul is great at this financial thing. On the last project where we had blah, blah, blah issue, and he did it. Let's bring him on board. Let's make sure that we shine for it, because sometimes we're in these meetings and we hear people talking, and sometimes what they're saying, we know it. We're like, why are you talking about it again? But the fact that you know it and you not say and someone else said it, you've lost an opportunity. So that's one of the things I would encourage us to do. And like I mentioned, look for serious problems and solve. Try and go above and beyond your job. And then finally, when you're going to do your performance reviews, really sit down and tell a beautiful story to your manager. Don't say, I just did something. Write it in a way that shows what problem is solved, who you solved it for, how much you saved, or something like that. If you don't write it well, you're going to get passed over time and time for promotion.
Wow. I don't think I want to ask you another question on this episode. I just want to end it here. You said a whole lot in this last one. You talked about networking with purpose, and I think that's a big one. You talked about visibility, like blow your trumpet. Nobody's gonna blow it for you. Then looking for a serious problem to solve. Thank you. I'm taking note as well. It's like you are coaching me. I hope I won't have to pay for this.
No, not you. Yeah, feel free. Your coaching will be free forever, because we'll be coaching both each other. I'm learning
Thank you.
from you.
Thank
You're
you so
learning
much,
from me.
Pamela. I really love what you said. It's a big one for me. So, because I've seen it truly, people get the job. Some people they don't even think they can grow. Like, they just feel like they've been done a favor by giving them that opportunity, and they're just stuck in there for years. So you must find a sponsor, you must look for a problem to solve, and you must start behaving like someone that wants to get promoted. Thank you. You are a busy woman. You have a 9 to 5, you coach people, and you also try to have fun, because I've met you at different social events. How do you balance work, life, and business? You also have a family, you have kids. How do you balance it?
It's all, I know it's hard, right? In fact, that's why I did start this business for a long time, because I was like, I can't add the responsibility of running a business to all of this. It's really about creating a schedule, right? Sometimes the schedule clashes, I won't lie, but it's really also about creating a schedule, and then sticking to it. So okay, this is my free time when I can do this. This is when I can do stuff. Like, for example, I just started a training today, and it's my last training for the year. By October, I'm done. I'm not training November and December. And people are like, why you're going to lose money? And I said to them, because I like Christmas. I like the end of the year. It's very important to me. And so you won't find me trading during that period. I have to free up that time, right? And this year I've been super busy. So I feel like if I can't rest, if what I'm doing does not allow me the luxury to rest, if I've made some money, then what am I
Doesn't
doing?
make
So
sense.
it's really about making capacity for the different areas, because it's very important for us to balance everything. The social is important because you want to still meet people. Like, that's how we met. I've known you for a long time. That's not the first time. That's my first time interacting with you one-on-one, but I've seen you on a lot of platforms and I've never met you. If I wasn't there, I'll still be seeing you from the screen somewhere. And so the opportunity to network, the opportunity to learn, because you go there, you're learning new things. A lot of the things I've
Right.
learned from talking to people, I've brought them into my business. I've met people, they've also introduced me to other people that I've trained. So it's very important, the social aspect of it. You have to be visible. Like, I talked about, you have to be visible. Imagine if I'm behind the scenes and doing this. Yes, I might still have impact, but it might not be as broad. So it's really about making out capacity and saying, how do I balance these things? So allocating the right time, but it can be a bit too much, I'll be honest, right? But the other thing I do is that starting to delegate some things, right? Before I would do everything myself, but now I'm getting good at delegating. I'm not still good at that, but my goal for next year is to delegate better. I saw this post. I was like, the post is like, by next year, your business, the kind of business you have, you need a full team to run it. So that's where I want to get to.
Right.
To
Awesome.
free up my time. So I'm fortunate. Like, for example, now, when I finish my trainings, I've sent out emails myself. I can have this conversation with you because I have an assistant that knows that it's their job to send out the video, send out all the links to the people that came to class today. So I know I can be free to chat with you. I don't have to focus on social media too much because I now have someone doing social media, right? Obviously where we want to get to is where I really want to get to is because as we launch more programs, which are going to be coming in the next year, is to also bring in at least a few trainers to share the burden, because I mean I'm good at strategy, I'm good at training, but I'm much better at strategy. I'm good at both of them. But since I'm also the visionary for this business and the strategist, right? I don't want to lose focus when I'm focusing too much on training. I'm not doing strategy. So hoping to bring in, hire more people so that I can free up my time to be able to do some of those things that are best done by myself, so that I can still have time for the other areas like my 9 to 5 and my family.
Wow. Wow. I love everything you said. There are a lot of things I can relate with because I've had conversations with business owners, and almost everyone will tell you that one of their biggest challenges in the beginning is probably delegating and doing everything themselves. So I like that you've identified that and you are outsourcing it, which is a win-win because you're also helping someone to make earnings and you are getting time for yourself so you can stay sane.
Yeah, exactly. Very important. Yeah, that mental
Yeah,
health is very important for business owners.
it's very important so that you won't just get yourself burnt out. Your
Yeah,
creativity will get lost if you are not
exactly.
be able to
That's the whole part. I
function.
think that's one of that creativity part, because you're the business owner. You have to think of the strategy. Where am I going to be in 2 months, 3 months? What do I need to do to get there? And then you still have to run the business. It can get very challenging. And
Right.
it's really big to find out what are those tasks, like those admin things that I don't need to do. They don't improve my business, they just help my business run. So can I outsource those things to somebody else so I can do the ones that are important from that you should do? So it's about making out time, also delegating, and also planning, planning better how you allocate yourself amongst all the different things that you need to do.
Awesome. So my next question to you is an interesting one because I see a lot of people, everybody wants to transition into tech. And uh, I know it's a lucrative field. So for you now, apart from money, what would you advise someone? What else should be the drive? Everybody needs money. We all know that money is important. But apart from money, if you want to stay relevant in the tech industry, apart from those things that you've mentioned about networking and all that, what else should be your secondary motivation? If money is the primary one, what else do you think should be a motivation for someone that wants to transition and remain relevant in the industry?
Good question. Thank you. And I like how you said apart from money, because I do find that money seems to be a driver for a lot of people. And because of that, sometimes if they don't get those results, they're disappointed, they lose focus or something. So the primary driver of why people should consider tech is one, you don't need a fancy degree. It's not like medicine, law, it's not like engineering. Trust me, even if you didn't go to school today and you are good at coding, you will earn a lot of money.
Right.
You don't need to go to school. So look at it. It's cheaper for you in the long run in terms of upfront investment of your money and your time to get into technology. So for any immigrant listening out there, that's why you should consider technology. Technology is universal. It's universal. So you know how you come into the country and the way they license in Nigeria is different from the UK, it's different from Canada, and it's different from the US, Australia. I can call all the countries in the world. The licensing for all different professions is different. So imagine if you had to change every 3 years or 5 years, how much time and energy and stress you will go through to get a license. Technology is universal. You code in Nigeria, you can code in Canada. Right? So that's a role that does not require any certification. You can hit the ground running. And that's why I got my job in the first 1 month. Right? The third one, technology is what I call their future-proof careers.
Right.
Technology has been around forever. It will continue to evolve, right? I'm not in the same role I started from the first time I started my career. When I started my career, I didn't know I was going to be a Scrum Master. It existed then, but I did not know about it.
There was no name for it.
Yeah. I just did computer engineering and I started in the place that made the most sense. I started with hardware. I used to do hardware support, networking, all that kind of thing. That was my core thing when I started. And then I started to grow through the ranks. I started to do stuff and then moved away less and less from the hard part of it
to the soft parts.
to the soft part of it and making money.
Making money.
So I want guys to
Living
realize
soft life.
I started my career from technology, but it was not about money, guys. I know y'all want to make money, and that's good. I applaud you, but that's not the only reason. You just know that this career you can change. It is future proof. There will always be technology. What you're doing today in technology, in the next 10 years might be doing a whole different thing, but because you are already in that space, you have that mobility. So it's a future proof career. Technology will be around forever and it will just keep on evolving, right? The next reason why you should stay in this is that, being technology makes you smarter. I'm sorry for anybody that says things that, and I must say that people are not smart, just makes you really smart. Like once you start to use one technology, or once you've been in technology, you need to see like when you talk or when you're in a place or when you have to do something that is new, it's easier for you. Technology kind of like it just opens your mind. There's something it does to your brain.
That's
It
correct.
just makes you a bit more adaptable. Now, for you to thrive in technology, for you to stay relevant, I always tell people is you need to be aware of trends. You need to listen to the news. Don't just always watch Netflix and chill or just go to Instagram and subscribe to the blogs that sell gossip. They're great, but you're just not going to know what's relevant. You're going to know what's relevant in the entertainment industry and what's going on in the gossip columns. But try to subscribe to good newsletters. Try to watch YouTube videos. Try to read articles. Subscribe. You get these emails really delivered easily to your email. And Google is your friend. Google and say, what jobs are future proof? What technology jobs are future proof? Google will tell you, or go to one of the AI tools. They don't lie. They'll tell you. It allows you to paint a picture in your mind about where you want to be in the future and what you need to do. And then, of course, make sure that you're on whatever networking platforms you're on, like LinkedIn. There's Eventbrite, meetups, where you can also see events that are coming to be. Subscribe to attend events regularly as much as you can for like technology events. Follow technology leaders on LinkedIn and attend technology events, like one of the biggest ones in the world, which is now has its home in Toronto is Collision.
Yeah,
So
collision.
people should try to attend Collision. I attended Collision the first time ever when it came to Canada, because it used to be in the US. I think the first time they brought Collision to Canada was 2019, and it stayed here in Toronto. I couldn't attend the last two because they were COVID. So there was they called it Collision at Home. It was
Okay.
all online, but I couldn't attend, and I couldn't attend this one. It just clashed with a lot of things I was doing. I'm busy. So these days, but I'm being more intentional. I must be at the next one. The tickets can be a bit pricey, but if you're someone who's really like into technology, you want to stay abreast of technology, you want to make good connections and stuff, Coalition is a great place to attend. And the other one would be the BPTN. They have this tech conference that
Right.
comes every year that's sponsored by banks like TD, I think.
Yeah.
That's also a good place to show up. So I'll just say networking events, newsletters, blogs, YouTube, just websites are just great resources to stay in the know and keep getting your technology knowledge updated.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pamela. It's been an exciting time having you on the podcast. And I know a lot of people are like, I would like Pamela to work with me. I would like her to hold my hands. How can people contact you? Like, just tell us how they can reach you. And if you're accepting new clients, if you like them to reach out, please share those details.
Okay, thanks. So, currently I train on Scrum Master. We have two kind of classes. So there's a certification only class where you just teach you enough for you to go and write a certification. It's a 4-day class, and then we have the 6-week class for those who want to get practical knowledge. So they learn what it is, what Scrum Masters really do on a day-to-day basis, and they do an actual project. And so if you want to be part of that, you go to our website, www.redluxconsulting, which is spelled REDLUXE consulting.com. You can go there, contact us, right? Or you can get in touch with us through any of our social media handle. Instagram is the same at Redlux Consulting, REDLUXE Consulting. Same for Facebook. You can reach out to us, send us a message, or send me an email at info@redluxconsulting.com. So info@redluxconsulting.com. Apart from the trainings that we do, we also do coaching. So we do either if you're looking for a job as in any of these following roles, or you are in the role currently and you need someone who has the experience to guide you, we do coaching, one-on-one coaching for product owners, business analysts, project managers, and scrum masters. So these roles, product owners, business analysts, project managers, scrum masters, will also do one-on-one coaching for those roles, whether you want to get the job or you are on the job and you need help.
Wow. And I love that part of you providing support for people who are already on the job. I think that's a very big one because I've seen a lot of coaches. Most of them are like, don't worry, we help you to get a job. But you mentioned that getting the job is one thing, staying and growing on the job is another one. So
Yes.
thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode. Thank you so much, Pamela. I'm so grateful to you for coming. And on behalf of everybody that you've supported, like every destiny that you've helped, because helping people to get jobs is a big deal in a country like Canada. And I know how tough it can be for new immigrants. And this is a lucrative one, So thank you so much for representing us well, for being a thriving immigrant.
Thank you
And
so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thanks for bringing me here. And I hope that anyone who's listening out there who's looking for a job or considering moving technology, I'm hoping that this has inspired you in one way or the other. And just stay on track, follow your dreams, they are valid. And if you put in the effort and you're consistent, you will see the results that you deserve.
awesome. So that's it for today. That's a wrap. Thank you, everyone, and do have a wonderful day.